So a lot of times with a girl, you just know she's not the one, right? Like that feeling isn't there and it's easy to tell. Other times it's not so obvious. The feelings are so strong, all of a sudden you can't even think logically. And I'm speaking from experience when I say that those are the relationships that end up getting you in the most trouble. So today I want to talk about 5 signs she's not the one, even if it feels like it. So starting off, nothing's worse than when someone enters a new relationship with crazy baggage from their last one. And when I was 23, I was dating this girl that was so fucked up from her last relationship. She treated me like I was the bozo that cheated on her, right? She said it was trauma, this and that, and I was younger and just dumber, so I let it slide for way longer than I should have. But at one point, I was like, I'm done paying the price for some other dude that cheated on you, right? Because, you hear it all the time, but, you need trust in a relationship. Her not trusting me ruined our relationship because I couldn't do shit without her suspecting that I was cheating on her. And I'll never forget, me and my boys, for some reason, were so excited to go see the Napoleon movie. For months, we were looking forward to it. Looking back, I don't know why, but we get there, and she's blowing up my phone the entire time to the point where I couldn't even enjoy the movie, right? I'm the type of person, when I go to the movies, I'm not about to have my phone out texting. I actually enjoy putting it away for a few hours and locking in on the movie. But, at the same time, I really liked this girl and I wanted it to work so badly. So I was constantly putting in effort to show that I wasn't cheating, right? Because I wasn't. I actually wasn't. I was at the fucking Napoleon movie, right? Obviously, like I said, in this specific situation, she had baggage. She had a bad experience, but I think trust, even when that isn't the case, if someone's constantly tweaking out and interrogating you and suspects you of talking to other people or cheating on them, there's a chance that, she's cheating on you. People project a lot, but especially in relationships. And, I don't want to make anyone paranoid. Obviously, every situation is going to be different. But from my perspective, I've never cheated on anyone, right? And because of that, I never felt like I was getting cheated on in a relationship. Whether that's true or not, maybe I was getting cheated on, but it never I never felt the need to constantly be checking, right? Interrogating the person that you're dating. It's just ridiculous. Which is a perfect transition to the second sign. She causes you more stress than she does relief, right? And maybe I'm an old head the way I think, but I think that a life partner, or a good one at least, should add to your life, right? Make you a better person, make you more at peace with yourself. Me in that fucking Napoleon movie, that was stress, right? And things like constantly fighting adds stress. And we have so much stress in our lives already that having more added through your relationship is it's the strongest ingredient for the recipe of a crash out, if that makes sense. It's just too much stress, bro. I had a relationship that caused me more stress than the fucking emergency brain surgery that I had to get once. I'm so serious about this. This girl had this childhood trauma that because of she would get comfort out of fighting. That's what she told me. So we would just end up fighting all the time, super toxic. And, I was literally pulling my hair out. I'm not someone who enjoys fighting. I didn't know that could even be a thing that people could enjoy. But yeah, this added stress is, like I said, we have so much stress already that adding more onto a relationship is just a recipe for disaster, right? And she was also my direct manager at work, by the way, which is just the cherry on top of this story. And I could make a fucking movie on that. But never date your coworkers, right? Because when the relationship went sour, she made my work life a living hell and just did me so dirt. Because she could. She was in a position where she could, and she did. So don't dip your pen in company ink, dude. Regardless of, how good looking someone is, just don't do it, please, right? Sometimes the girls that we like the most, that make us feel the best, end up being the craziest. And if you're constantly stressed out, there's probably a reason for that, right? This is another smooth transition to maybe the most important sign on here, which is that you're only with a girl because she's attractive. Or maybe that's not why you're only with her, but that's the main reason, right? She's, physically out of your league, so you're putting up with more shit than you usually would. And I've been there. And if you're like me, and I think most people, you're just trying to find that life partner type beat. But at the same time, if you're like me, you aren't thinking too good when she's like a smoke show, right? All of a sudden you're letting shit slide that you normally wouldn't, and you're insecure about your own. It's just something to keep in mind, is like looks are not even close to being everything, and definitely don't last forever. So it's just crazy to me, like, to think about the millions of dudes out there that have ruined their lives, putting all into someone just because of their appearance, which is just insane. But at the same time, I could see how that could happen, right? Our brains are primal, like I said in the beginning. So next, she only likes to talk about herself. So recently, actually, I went on a few dates with this girl who at first I thought was dope. She was, smart, pretty. She was an athlete, and I mean, what can my ass ask for more than that, right? The first date was fun, so we did another, and the second date a little less fun. Let me preface this: I'm not some guy that's obsessed with himself and just talking about myself, which is funny because that's literally what I'm doing right now. But I prefer, being the one who's asking the questions and letting other people talk. I've never been like a person who needs to hear themselves talk all the time, right? And she wasn't either, but after these dates, it was like I knew everything about her family, where she goes every summer, her goals, her fights with her friends, her fucking mom's favorite book. And like walking home from that second date, it hit me. I was like, she didn't really ask me shit. Like, she didn't ask me where I went to school, about my siblings, or really anything. And it wasn't like she wasn't having a good time, because she was texting me like how she wants to do it again. Like, it was so much fun, telling her friends. But I don't know, maybe this is unfair, but to me, I see this as a sign of someone who is like self-centered, in a way. I mean, shit, we all are self-centered, right? But I think some people more than others. Some people are just really into themselves, right? And really enjoy talking about themselves, which is okay. I mean, shit. But me personally, like, that's kind of a sign for me that in the future this most likely wouldn't work, because I need someone who's curious about me and my people, and it might sound a little narcissistic, but I just feel like, I don't know. Also, unrelated, like when you're on a date and you just feel like you're asking all these questions, like some people just don't have conversational skills, which is totally not a sign that I would add to this list, right? That's not something that like on its own would be enough for me to be like, I'm off that. But I will say, like, I do want someone who's interested in me, right? And not just talking about themselves, which is another good transition. Damn, the transitions in this video, I'm really killing it. But you feel like you can't be yourself around a girl. And I want to be clear, like, I think it's very normal to reserve parts of yourself when you're around someone, especially when you just started dating, because, like, newsflash, if you let a girl know 100% of who you are right away and just like act like you would with your boys, she's gonna leave your ass, and like rightfully so, right? And in every relationship, more and more gets revealed the deeper that you get to know someone. It's like the analogy of like the onion getting peeled, right? But if there's certain things about yourself, like, I don't know, if shit you're passionate about, or things that you like to do with your free time that you are hiding from her after a while, you got to ask yourself why that is. Because like, do you think she's gonna judge you? Do you think that because like, all bets are off when you guys get older, right? We're gonna know every little thing about our significant other, to the point where it's like annoying how well you know them, right? So I think a healthy relationship, you don't feel the need to hide who you are. You should feel comfortable expressing yourself with whatever it is. Shit, like, I remember this one girl like hated guys who played video games, and I was like trying to impress her. I was like, yo, fucking video games are stupid anyway, you know what I mean? But it was like, no, like, I like playing fucking video games sometimes. And you would have found that out eventually. Like, you would have to come to terms with that. So I think just in the beginning, it's like important. A big goal of mine is not getting divorced, right? And I think this is, every healthy relationship, you need to be comfortable with the girl, and being yourself. You can't pretend to be someone else for a relationship that lasts 50 years, right? So yeah, I mean, each relationship, each date you go on, each dynamic, everything's going to be different, right? So my experiences really so far is all I can go off on, and it might not be applicable to your life and your experiences. I know a lot of this shit is common, but nothing's set in stone. I'm still learning things that I signs, green flags and red flags, and even the shitty relationships that I've had, I'm actually grateful for, right? Even the one I said was more stressful than brain surgery, because it gives me a blueprint for what I'm looking for, and I can avoid a bunch of car wrecks before they happen, right? Because I can recognize these signs, these red flags, right? So I'm just not going to get in the car. So I also do want to know, like, it's important not to have this huge list of things, like, she needs to be this, she needs to be that. She's like, no one's perfect, and there's always going to be something that you can point out and be like, okay, that, I don't love that, but you can't just have this laundry list of shit, and because then you'll just never find, you're never gonna find the perfect girl, right? So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know what other red flags you would add to this list. I know there's a bunch more, but I just I want to talk about these ones, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.